Let's strip away the comfort and face what you'd rather not admit. You believe persuasion is a birthright, a gift reserved for the chosen few. You think charisma is a lightning bolt, either it strikes you or it doesn't. You watch the magnetic ones glide through rooms, words dripping from their lips like honey, and you convince yourself they were born with it. That's the myth, isn't it? The myth of natural charisma, the effortless art of getting others to lean in, to listen, to follow. But let's call it what it is, a lie. Here's the uncomfortable reality. Most people are invisible. Most people are background noise in a world already deafened by 1,000 voices clamoring for attention. They speak, and the world keeps scrolling. They try to lead, and the crowd keeps walking. In the marketplace of influence, obscurity is the default setting. You are not followed by default. You are ignored, overlooked, forgotten. That's the cost of believing in effortless persuasion. Irrelevance. You want to know why? Because the world is not a meritocracy of good intentions. It's a colosseum, and only those who understand the rules of power, who wield it with intent, get to command the arena. Machiavelli saw through the illusions centuries ago. He wrote, "Whoever has power has the right to command, but goodness does not ensure power, and the good person has no more authority by virtue of being good." Power is not about being liked, it is about being seen, being heard, being obeyed. Still think you can coast on authenticity alone, that you can simply be yourself, and the world will line up to follow. That's the sheep's fantasy. The brutal reality is that the world follows the wolf, the one who understands that perception is reality, that influence is a weapon, and that charisma is not a halo, but a sharpened blade. Let me be clear. Waiting for charisma to descend from the heavens is like waiting for rain in a drought. It will not come. Charisma is not a genetic lottery ticket. It is a skill, one forged in the fires of self-awareness, deliberate practice, and ruthless adaptation. The charismatic do not wait to be chosen. They choose themselves, and then they choose their audience. So, what's the solution? Stop worshipping at the altar of the naturally gifted. Start mastering the mechanics of influence. Learn to read a room like Machiavelli read a court. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. In the theatre of power, only those who seize the stage are remembered. The rest are just shadows in the crowd. So will you step into the light or vanish into the noise? The art of persuasion is not a gift, it is a weapon. Wield it or be forgotten. You want the world to follow you, to hang on your every word, to move when you move. But let's shatter the first illusion. Authenticity alone does not win hearts. That's the bedtime story for grown children. Just be yourself, and the world will love you. It's the mantra of the comfortable, the excuse of the unremarkable. You repeat it because it's easy, because it absolves you of the hard work of transformation. But the truth? The world is not waiting for the real you. The world is indifferent to your essence unless you make it impossible to ignore. Just be yourself. What does that even mean? Are you the same person you were a decade ago? Of course not. The self is fluid, shaped by pain, ambition, failure, and victory. Yet people cling to this fantasy as if authenticity is a golden ticket. They forget that raw authenticity, untempered by strategy, is just noise. Intimacy and connection require a core of truth, yes, but influence, real influence, demands more than honesty. It demands adaptation, evolution, and the courage to become what the moment requires. Let's look at the masses. Sheep, huddled together, mistaking safety for virtue. They follow, not because they are inspired, but because they are afraid. Who leads? The one who dares to break from the flock. who accepts the loneliness of the path, who shapes himself into a force the world cannot ignore. You think you can control how others see you? You can't. The Stoics were mercilessly clear. You control your actions, your choices, your character, nothing more. You cannot will the world to love you. You cannot force the sheep to become wolves. But you can master yourself, sharpen your instincts, and choose your battles with precision. The rest is noise. So here's the ruthless shift. Stop chasing acceptance. Stop worshipping at the altar of authenticity for its own sake. You want to master the art of persuasion? Then face this. Most of what you think you know about influence is a fairy tale. You tell yourself people are logical, that facts win arguments, that authority is earned by merit. But persuasion is not a debate club, it's a battlefield, and the weapons are psychological triggers, not syllogisms. Let's start with the raw mechanics. What actually moves people? Not logic, not reason, not your carefully constructed arguments. It's emotion, it's instinct, it's the primal urge to follow, to belong, to avoid loss, to be led by the confident voice in the storm. Cialdini, the Machiavelli of modern psychology, proved it. People obey authority, crave scarcity, and are swept away by the crowd. Authority is a uniform, a title, a posture, nothing more. Scarcity is a ticking clock, a limited seat, a sense of loss looming over the horizon. Social proof is the herd stampede. If everyone's running, you run too, even if you don't know why. You want to persuade? Become the authority. Wear the symbols. Speak with certainty. Let your confidence become their compass. Make your offer scarce. Let them feel the cold breath of missing out on their necks. Show them the crowd already follows you. Humans are pack animals, and the lone wolf is only feared if he's proven his teeth. But here's the deeper truth. Narrative is your Trojan horse. Look at the world. People buy what they don't need, follow leaders who lie, defend beliefs that make no sense. Why? Because emotion rules, and logic is dragged along behind, justifying the choices already made. Kahneman, the high priest of behavioral economics, showed us. People don't think first, they feel first. The mind is a lawyer, not a judge. It argues for what the heart already wants. So, what's your move? Stop appealing to logic alone. Command authority. You want to persuade, to command, to have others follow you without question. But here's the truth you'd rather not face. You cannot master others until you master yourself. Most people never do. They drift, ruled by whims, slaves to distraction, hoping for influence while lacking even the discipline to control their own moods. The world does not hand you the reins. You must seize them, and that begins with self-mastery. The Stoics understood this centuries before you were born. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." If you cannot command your own mind, your own habits, your own reactions, you are a puppet, your strings pulled by circumstance, by the opinions and moods of others. You want to persuade? Start with the hardest audience, yourself. The general who cannot command himself cannot command an army. If your mind is a battlefield of chaos, how can you expect anyone to follow you into order? But don't mistake self-mastery for cold detachment. The naive believe empathy is weakness, that feeling for others dilutes your power. They are wrong. Strategic empathy is a weapon, not a wound. Adam Smith called it self-command, the art of tuning your passions so they harmonize with the world around you, like a musician tuning her instrument to the orchestra. To persuade, you must see through the eyes of others, anticipate their fears, their hopes, their resistance. A true leader knows when to speak and when to let silence do the work. A single pause, a steady gaze, a deliberate gesture, these are the marks of someone who commands, not pleads. Most people think leadership is about action. They forget that restraint is just as powerful. The Stoics taught, focus only on what you can control. Your actions, your words, your character. You think persuasion is about words? That's the delusion of amateurs. Words are just noise unless they're fired from the cannon of strategy. Let me break your fragile illusion. Social intelligence isn't a virtue, it's a weapon. The room isn't a congregation, it's a chessboard. Every glance, every pause, every shift in posture is a move. And you? You're either the player or the pawn. Here's the brutal math. Timing is the difference between a standing ovation and a bullet to the foot. Ask too soon and you reek of desperation. Wield them to elevate others and you're a leader. You fear failure? Good. Fear sharpens focus. The cost of misreading a room isn't embarrassment, it's irrelevance, isolation. The world forgets the hesitant. Look at history's graveyard, the pure who refused to adapt, the principled who clung to losing strategies. The Stoics warned, control what you can. You can't control outcomes, but you can master the variables, the when, the how, the why. So here's the ruthless pivot. Stop asking for permission. Start engineering consent. Study the room like a tactician, spot alliances, sniff out resistance, map the power grid, then strike. Frame your ask as the only logical choice, the safe harbor in a storm. Use silence as a battering ram. Let their minds fill the void with their own doubts, their own needs. And if you hesitate, if you cling to the fantasy of fair play, remember Machiavelli's verdict. Men judge by appearances, and victory comes to those who craft them. The world belongs to those who marry strategy to execution with surgical precision. Final choice. Will you be the architect of outcomes or the casualty of your own scruples? In the arena of influence, there are no participation trophies. Win or be written out of the story. The clock's ticking. What's your move?